Do you ever feel emotionally drained, exhausted by even the smallest tasks, or like you have nothing left to give? If you're constantly taking care of others, managing responsibilities, putting yourself last, you could be experiencing eldest daughter burnout. And ignoring the warning signs can have serious consequences for your mental and your physical health. By the end of this video, you will know the key signs of eldest daughter burnout and why so many of us experience it. Exactly what you can do to start recovering today. This is not just about feeling tired. Burnout can impact your relationships, your confidence, your ability to show up for yourself. But the good news is you can heal it, and I'm going to show you how in this video. I know how because I've been there. As the eldest daughter, I spent years taking on everyone else's burdens, thinking that if I just worked harder or helped more, I would feel better. I'd feel more loved and more validated. But instead, I hit a breaking point where I felt completely depleted and disconnected from myself. It wasn't until I understood the root causes of burnout and put a recovery plan in place that I was able to reclaim my energy and build this life where I'm not constantly running on empty. Before we dive into the video though, I want you to take my burnout quiz. This quiz is going to help you understand exactly where you are on the burnout spectrum, and then it'll give you personalized insights into what's draining your energy and then how you can start healing. I will drop the link to the quiz in the description below. It's completely free. So what are some signs of eldest daughter burnout that you should never ignore? The first one is you feel emotionally numb or detached. This is one of the biggest red flags of burnout. It's feeling emotionally numb. You might notice that things that used to excite you or interest you just now feel unimportant and dull. You struggle to feel joy even in situations that really should make you happy. If you've reached a point where you feel like you're just going through the motions, that is a sign that your emotional reserves are depleted. Second sign, you're constantly overwhelmed even by small things. When you're emotionally burned out, even the smallest tasks feel impossible. These are things that once felt easy, like replying to a text or making a decision, even just getting out of bed. These things start to feel overwhelming. You'll feel like your brain is foggy, you can't think clearly or keep up with everything that everybody needs from you. And this happens because the burnout affects your cognitive functioning. It makes it harder to process information. Third sign, you have intense feelings of resentment. You feel resentful towards the people in your life, even the ones that you love the most. Maybe you feel like you give so much, but no one notices or appreciates your efforts. Maybe you feel trapped in this cycle of doing everything for everyone, and then you wonder, when is it my turn? Resentment is a big sign of burnout, and it means that you're giving from an empty cup. And if you don't address this, it can lead to a disconnection from the people that you love. Fourth sign, your sleep patterns are all over the place. Burnout will wreak havoc on your sleep. Some people experience insomnia, like laying awake at night with just this racing mind, unable to turn off the stress and the overthinking. Other people feel like they could sleep all day and then they wake up and they're still exhausted. If you're waking up tired, feeling drained, even after a full night's sleep, or find yourself unable to rest properly, burnout might be the cause. Number five, you feel irritable and emotionally sensitive. So when you are burned out, you might find yourself snapping at people over things that normally would not bother you. Small inconveniences feel like huge problems. You might even feel like you're constantly on edge. Even a simple request from someone else is just too much. This happens because burnout depletes your ability to regulate your emotions, making you even more reactive to stress. Sign number six are physical symptoms, things like body aches, headaches, stomach issues. The burnout doesn't just affect your mind, it affects your body. If you've been experiencing headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, fatigue, your body could be signaling you that it's under too much stress, and long-term burnout will weaken your immune system. This makes you more susceptible to colds and other illnesses. It leaves you feeling physically just drained. So now we know all of the horrible signs to look for. How do you recover? Number one, acknowledge that you are burned out in the first place. The first step to recovering from burnout is to recognize and accept that you are burned out. And this sounds simple, but for eldest daughters, this is really difficult because admitting that you're struggling feels like you have failed. You have been conditioned to push through exhaustion, to be the strong one, to keep everything together no matter what. But burnout is not a sign of weakness. It is a signal that your mind and your body have been running on empty for too long. So start by reflecting on your day-to-day. Have you been feeling exhausted no matter how much you sleep? Do you feel emotionally numb or detached? Are you constantly overwhelmed, irritated, resentful? These are all signs that your body is trying to get your attention. Me, my sign, I ignored all of the signs actually, and I had to have a massive panic attack that the doctors thought was actually a pulmonary embolism, and I landed in the hospital. It wasn't until that very jarring experience, terrifying experience even, that I stopped and really started to listen to my body. Please don't follow in my footsteps. Pay attention to the signs, take a step back, listen to your body. A really good way to tune into that is journaling. This is a powerful tool. You can write down everything that you've been feeling physically, emotionally, mentally. Start to notice if there's any patterns. Are there specific situations or people that leave you feeling drained? Do you always feel like you're the one holding everything together? Acknowledging these realities can help you see where changes need to be made. This requires self-compassion, so many eldest daughters are incredibly hard on themselves, constantly believing that they should be able to handle more. But healing starts with giving yourself grace. So instead of criticizing yourself for feeling burned out, remind yourself, I am allowed to need rest. I am allowed to take care of myself. I do not have to earn my right to slow down. Step 2 for burnout recovery, start setting boundaries around your energy. Burnout doesn't just happen. It's often the result of consistently giving too much without replenishing yourself. So one of the most critical steps to recovery is learning how to set and enforce boundaries. Boundaries are not about being selfish or pushing people away. They're about protecting your well-being and ensuring that you are not overextending yourself to the point of exhaustion. Eldest daughters struggle with setting boundaries because we have been conditioned to believe that our role is to always be available, to never say no, and to be the reliable one, to not ask for help. But constantly saying yes to others means saying no to yourself. So start small. Identify one thing in your life that is draining you and practice saying no to it. It might be declining an extra work task, setting a limit on family obligations, or deciding not to engage in emotionally draining conversations. You don't have to justify or over-explain your decision. Just saying, I can't take that on right now is enough. For boundaries to be effective, they must be consistent. People in your life will push back at first, but remember, their reaction is not your responsibility. Your well-being comes first. So if guilt comes up and you remind yourself that every time you set a boundary, you are reclaiming your energy and your mental peace. A helpful exercise for this is to write down a list of boundaries. For example, something like, I appreciate you asking me, but I won't be able to help with that. Or I need to focus on my own well-being right now, so I'm gonna take a step back from those responsibilities. Or I can't commit to that right now, but I hope you find the support that you need. Practicing these responses can make it easier for you to assert yourself in those real life situations when all of that guilt and fear builds up in you about setting the boundary. Step 3 for burnout recovery, prioritize deep, intentional rest. Rest is not just about getting more sleep. It's about truly restoring your mind, body, and soul. And many eldest daughters have been raised to believe that rest is only acceptable once everything else is done. But the reality is, everything will never be done. There will always be more to do, more people to help, more tasks waiting for your attention. So intentional rest is about shifting from I will rest when I deserve it to I will rest because I need it. Start by identifying the different types of rest. There's physical rest. This includes passive rest like sleep, but also active rest like yoga, stretching, tai chi. If your body is fatigued, prioritize sleep, but also incorporate activities that help release that built-up tension. It's very possible that your body is fatigued and achy and sore all the time because it's in a constant state of tension. Shoulders tight, neck tight, jaw clenched, butt cheeks clenched, just tense. And active activities like yoga, tai chi, even just mindfully walking can help to process and move some of that tension and help your muscles to relax so that they're not sore and achy because they're holding at attention at all times. Next is mental rest. If your mind feels overstimulated and foggy, schedule breaks throughout your day where you step away from work, from screens, from responsibilities, doing things like breathing, journaling, meditating. I have several mindfulness, self-compassion meditations on this channel. Most of them are only about 5 minutes. Just take a 5-minute break and listen to a self-compassion meditation. Just allow your mind to drop into the meditation and not think about anything else but being kind to yourself. There's also emotional rest. This involves just creating space for your emotions without judgment. Talk to a friend, to a therapist, practice self-compassion exercises. Show yourself some grace, give yourself a break. You are allowed to have all of the emotions that you have without judgment. This is part of the human experience. Everybody has reactivity. Everybody has emotions. None of them are wrong. Trying to keep your emotions contained because you feel like you shouldn't be having them is hurting you. There's also fun stuff like creative rest. So hobbies and interests that are not about being productive. Things like painting or music or reading or just sitting on a rock looking at the river. Rest needs to be a non-negotiable part of your routine. You have to schedule it into your calendar like you would any other appointment and then treat it with the same level of importance as a work meeting or a doctor's appointment. And do not make excuses to reschedule it. Show up for your rest breaks. Step 4 for healing burnout, reconnect with what brings you joy. Burnout will strip away the parts of you that feel vibrant and creative and alive. And when your entire life has been centered around responsibility, caretaking, and doing things for others, it's really easy to lose sight of what makes you feel happy. So reconnecting with that joy, it starts with curiosity, asking yourself, what did I love doing as a child before I felt the pressure to be the responsible one? What activities make me lose track of time? What would I do if I had no obligations for an entire day? Create a list of activities, a joy list of activities that bring you happiness, peace, excitement. It might be something like listening to music or dancing or painting or reading, taking a walk, baking, gardening, all of these things. Once you have created your list, integrate at least 1 or 2 of those activities a week. It doesn't have to be time consuming, just 5 minutes a day of doing something that makes you feel happy. It will shift your emotional state. And the goal of this is to remind yourself that you are not just here for work or to care for others or to check off your to-do list. You are also here for you, and that means feeling joyful. Step 5, get support. Stop trying to do everything alone. Ask for help. One of the biggest contributors to eldest daughter burnout is the feeling that you have to handle everything alone. Many eldest daughters take pride in being self-sufficient, but this mindset can become isolating and exhausting. You do not have to carry everything by yourself. Start by identifying areas where you need support. This is things like asking family members to take on more responsibilities, delegating tasks at work instead of always taking on the extra workload, seeking emotional support through therapy or getting a coach or support groups, talking to a trusted friend and letting them know what you're going through and allowing them to help, connecting with other firstborn daughters in this community. When I first started this, I asked my kids to take on more responsibility around the house. I realized that I was doing things for them that they didn't need me to do for them. They are capable and able to do things for themselves. There's also no shame in outsourcing, hiring a housekeeper. Have your groceries delivered to your front door. You don't need to be in the grocery store if there's grocery delivery available in your town. If asking for help feels uncomfortable, then start with small steps. Instead of saying, I need help with everything, try, hey, can you take care of dinner tonight or one night a week? Or I need a break. Can you handle this task? Being vulnerable and allowing others to support you is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. And the more you practice asking for help, the easier it becomes and the less alone you feel. And it actually helps build relationships with other people. Surrounding yourself with a supportive community makes a huge difference in burnout recovery. So find spaces where you feel seen and heard and validated, whether it's in this online community, with a friend, with a therapist. Having a strong support system is essential to making healing from burnout easier, especially as eldest daughters, because we find it so hard to ask for help and to let other people know what's going on with us. So connecting with other firstborn daughters or with a trusted friend or a therapist really helps to bring the process from out of our heads and into the real world. It makes it so much easier. So if you recognized yourself in some of these signs, then it's time to take action. To understand exactly where you are in the burnout cycle, I have created a free burnout quiz. This quiz gives you all the personal insights on what's draining your energy and how you can start healing your burnout. So the link for that quiz is in the description. Like I said, it's totally free, so just click the link, take the quiz, and then you will learn exactly where your burnout is. If this video was helpful to you, please make sure to like and subscribe, and also share it with any other firstborn daughters who it might help. And make sure to check out this video next.